Hello and welcome to the Beyond podcast and our continuing journey through the complete history of verse drama plus some other stuff, which is now rapidly evolving into just going through every single play ever written bit by bit in chunks, and it seems to be that's where we are. This started as a wonderful crossover on the Hamlet to Hamilton, not the other way around. I almost said the Hamilton to Hamlet, and that would be an interesting podcast.
That's a Doctor Who version.
Yeah. Absolutely. Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. So it's started off over there, and now we worked our way through, and then we hit the 1560s, and we crossed over. So if you want to hear the early episodes, go over to the Hamlet to Hamilton podcast. There will be some links in the show description. Otherwise, you can then rejoin us in the 1560s here and into the future, and who knows whither we will go. But to introduce who are Hamlet to Hamilton, who's not been here before, they are...
Well, I'm Emily C.A. Snyder, she, they, and I am joined with...
Colin Kovarik, he, they. What would you like us to tell people about ourselves, Robert?
I don't know. You know, who are you? What is your purpose in life? I could always edit in from the last one of the earlier episodes. We could do introductions.
Sure. Well, I'm currently, at the time of recording, a PhD student at the Shakespeare Institute here in Stratford-upon-Avon, studying about verse drama, and very happy to have. We're on season 4 of Hamlet to Hamilton. If you're here already, you may have already heard our part of season 4, I said, and joined with Colin.
Right, and so I am. Formerly a full-time freelancer in theater, primarily in Chicago and Milwaukee in America. Right now, I'm a tech worker because I reached a point at which I was like, I would like to be able to pay rent, and that was the way I moved. These discussions, our podcast and projects like this allow me to kind of keep my toe in the water of the theater community in a way that's really rewarding. So glad to be here.
Lovely. Well, previously, in the 1560s, we were in dancing through, and Colin wasn't able to join us for that episode. It was just Emily and I. But we danced through a whole range of things. I said at the beginning of those sessions that it was a case of I thought the 1560s were a bit weird, and actually, I came to the conclusion, no, drama had always been weird.
Well, that's
that
what you
normal.
felt, but that was not the experience I had. And because we finally did the big one, which is Gorboduc, which is the first time that there is iambic pentameter, which is, of course, a specific repeating meter, but also blank verse, which actually was the thing that threw both of us more, which is suddenly we weren't rhyming. So we'd say a line, and then the next line just wouldn't rhyme, and it felt very, at least to me, it felt very precarious and dangerous and new and edgy. So I'm curious to, and then it was a very curious thing of bouncing back and forth between rhyme and not rhyme, even more than various forms of meter, since essentially both blank verse and rhymed verse maintain some sort of meter. So we haven't hit what we get, of course, centuries later, after Charles Baudelaire and the vers libre in French of truly free from meter verse. But I'm curious, therefore, to see, Colin, since you weren't there for that, whether you have similar experience or whether you are on Team Robert of, oh, no, it's always been just a bit odd. And of course, listener, interesting to know what the listener thinks. If they're just going, oh, I don't know,
Well, I think when I said it was always a bit odd in the sense that, we always have this sort of medley of different verse styles. We had a few 14ers, we had this sort of relatively free, I guess it was rhymed, but there weren't regular stresses necessarily in the lines, and we had a lot of different styles all the time, and actually there wasn't that much blank verse.
No, it was only like two pieces, I think we did, 2 or 3, yeah.
And so in a sense, we had this moment with Gorboduc, and it's one of those commonplaces that's the play you go to, is the sort of the beginning of something, and it's not actually unreasonable. I mean, at least in terms of a text that we have, it may have been other plays that were already experimenting with this, and there's definitely, as Emily I think spoke about last time, a sense of poets really trying to figure out what to do with English verse and make English verse better.
Dangerous. To improve the quality of English verse, or to stand. Well, actually, what it is we met George Gascoigne, Gorgeous George, who is in fact one of the founding fathers of essentially taking Greek ideas of meter, such as the I am, and saying, okay, how does it work in English? And so, Rob, as you're saying that we had all sorts of different metrical qualities in English verse beforehand, and you were saying, well, some of them, were sort of all over the place. The ones that were all over the place, let's be honest, were just incredibly badly metered. It was just sort of doggerel, and you couldn't feel the stresses being regular, or it was wrenched rhyme, as we've talked about before. And that's exactly Gorgeous George Gascoigne's whole purpose in life, was to say, right, we're not having this doggerel anymore. I'm gonna write the thesis, a man after my own heart. I'm gonna write the thesis of how English works. And then he did the thing which we're still suffering from today, of saying, and somehow the way the Greeks looked at their own language regarding meter is going to work for English. We're the same language, and it's just going to work. And that's why we're going to be seeing, I think, the increase in true focus on meters, because once George Gascoigne released his piece on poesy, what happened was all these other poets started going, oh, okay, we have been feeling that some things are doggerel and some things work better. And so there was a lot of experimentation with meter in the world of poetry. I don't know if it's going to be true in the world of plays, of poetic plays, though.
Yes, and when we're talking about poetry, we should be careful, of course, when we're talking about different verse forms being a bit looser and the thing, it doesn't mean they're not dramatically effective.
Very much.
Well, of course.
Colin was going to say.
Yes, could I just beg a contextual note for those of us tuning in late at home? Why do we call him Gorgeous George?
Oh, just because it was fun.
Oh, okay.
I think we
I didn't know if there was some
Gorgeous George, actually. I can't remember how many Georges.
Okay,
we've
George
done.
Gascoigne is our first Gorgeous George on this podcast. Therefore, Gorgeous George the Great.
Okay, so the first of many. Good. All right.
No, it's a great question. No. Rob said it, and it was just fantastic.
Okay.
Had to keep it.
I just wondered if there was some device that he seemed to invent, or, well, maybe we'll find that here.
No. It's rather like a certain man who shall not be named on this particular podcast.
Oh, right.
I hope it's all right.
I forgot.
Well, perhaps on this podcast we might say that here we kill Bill.
I should have known. And if you don't know what the hell that was, you can check out our podcast for an explanation.
That's true.
I'll never explain it here. So we sort of danced through the 1560s, but I'm just going to throw in previously, as it were, a play from 1568, and it's partly because actually we have twice as many surviving plays and fragments from the 1560s as we do from the 1570s. So we're about to enter the 1570s.
Wow.
So the fossil record of plays ebbs and flows, and we're going through a drought which is really interesting considering what's going on in the 1570s as well, and it's really unhelpful.
Sure.
This isn't necessarily a very representative sample because it's really aren't a lot. I mean, you've got to remember before the 1560s, and a lot of the 1560s, the drama that we have, some of it's literary anyway. So it's like we got a lot of translations of Seneca bobbing about. So that sort of knocks the number up a bit, but that's not necessarily performed. And of course, before that, the number of plays, we don't have necessarily many plays per year. You might get one, but sometimes years pass, we've got nothing.
I enjoyed those Seneca pieces, whether they were performed or not. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a reason why, this dude holds up.
Yeah, I mean, the only real problem is a lot of 14ers, and the quality does vary. It's got to be said. Some of the translations are better than others. I may have given you the more enjoyable bits.
Thank you. I appreciate that. The ones that got that passed with distinction in their translating class. Mm-hmm.
A little bit of Seneca goes a long way.
Well, you figure actually, Seneca would have been seen in a very large arena, and so once you're fed up with seeing Seneca in the original, if you get only 10 minutes and you're like, that's enough, you can go and, buy falafel or something.
Well, Seneca in the original also is shorter. I mean, these were very expansive texts, so it was like, we had 14ers, we have to fill the line, and the text seemed to get longer. So, yeah.
Anyway, so
Yes.
so here we are, 1568-ish.
Yes, so we're going to just touch briefly on The Marriage of Wit and Science, which is what I call version 2 of a series of rewrites of the same play.
Oh.
So there was an earlier version, what was the earlier version called? The Play of Wit and Science, I think. They have slightly different titles by John Redford. Again, doing this off the top of my head, always a dangerous thing. So this is it's a play about education. It's about you should study and work hard, not too much, but you shouldn't play too much either. You've got to study and play. You've got to fight the tediousness monster, and you will come out the other side. And it features various different iterations of the story. And here we have the central character Wit, which is sort of understanding, as it were, the student who should be working, being tempted and seduced by idleness, who sings him effectively into a stupor. And so,
I believe idleness nowadays is known as TikTok. Is that right?
It's very similar. Very similar.
Yeah, very similar. Yes.
Whereas ignorance is represented in other social media platforms.
In excruciating detail.
Oh, indeed. Yes.
So, who would like to be... Emily, would you like to be idleness?
I would love to be idleness.
So the section I've given you begins with the closing part of a song, as effectively you sing wit to sleep, and we have a little chat between idleness and ignorance. So, Colin, would you like to be ignorance?
I was going to just ask if I could be, so...
Now, just to warn you for ignorance, is that ignorance is probably doing a sort of accent, so it's written in a quite weird way.
I see that now. It looks like it's some maybe Cockney.
It's probably it's what we call in the trade mummerset, which is. So there's the Somerset accent, which is a real county, and then there's the accent that people actually do when they're doing this kind of rustic, and it's Mummerset, which it doesn't exist. It's a non-existent sort of fiction.
Oh, so it's fake. So I can just make something up.
Yeah.
Right,
so the way we do it is, you born fine mother, not I, kind of thing.
Okay,
it's not really a proper accent. It's just a sort of.
So I can't fail.
Yeah, no, you can't. You can't. So just sort of go with it, and say, and I'll read in Wit, who I think only has 4 lines, because yeah.
Great.
So first 4 lines are song. So,
you got it. I can do it.
But
I got it.
You don't have to sing. It's entirely up to you.
I'm sorry. Have you met me? All right.
It is, for the listeners' benefit, it is 8:30 in the morning where I am, so I'm going to not sing, if that's cool.
You're cool. You've got the dialogue.
Yeah, I think it's only these first few lines that are sung, correct? Yes?
Yes, it's a much longer song, and it sort of sets in the thing of lulling me into sleep.
Yeah. Okay, so.
Okay.
Come, gentle wit, I thee require, and thou shalt hit thy chief desire. Thy chief desire, thy hoped prey. First ease thee here, and then away.
My bones are stiff, and I am wearied sore, and still methink I faint, and feeble more and more. Oh, wake me again in time, for I have things to do, and as you will me for mine ease, I do assent thereto.
Welcome with all my heart. Sir boy, hold here this fan, and softly cool his face. Sleep soundly, gentlemen. This char is charred well now. Ignorance, my son, thou seest all this, how featly it is done? But what's thou why?
Nay, bumfay, mother, not I. Well, I what is a gay-watched trick and trim, to rejoice my art to chance coots with him.
Dost thou remember how many I have served in the like sort?
It doth my art good to think on this sport.
Wilt thou see this proper fellow serve so?
Should give 2 pence to see it, and 2 pence mo.
Come off, then. Let me see thee in his doublet and hose.
You shall see a tall fellow, mother, I suppose.
Help off with his sleeve softly, for fear of waking. We shall leave the gentleman in a pretty taking. Give me thy coat. Hold this in thy hand. This fellow would be married to science, I understand. But ere we leave him, tell me another tale. Now let us make him look somewhat stale. There lie, and there be. The proverb is verified. I am neither idle, nor yet well occupied.
Mother, must I have his coat? Now, mother, I must. Shalt be a lively lad with a tisty tust.
Sleep sound, and have no care to occupy thy head, as near unto thy body now as if thou hadst been dead. For idleness hath won and wholly thee possessed, and utterly disabled thee from having thy request. Come on with me, my son, let us go. Couch again, and let this lusty ruffling wit here like a fool remain.
And they exit. So they basically strip him of his clothes and take away effectively his wit, and leave him as a idle kind of person.
Yeah, that. I liked that. There was character there. The rhymes were pretty good. They weren't wrenched. And I don't know. I don't know. There was something about. There was stuff to play. It didn't feel like doggerel. Yeah, go on.
I could see that idleness, like the part of it was your interpretation, I think, but also just like idleness is kind of an enticing character. I notice.
Well, I guess I always feel if you start by singing a song and having a guy fall asleep in your lap, you can't be
right.
You can't come in going.
That's really fair. Apologies to all listeners for the accent I fell into. I think it was some Pinky in the Brain, some Nick Frost.
And I think that's exactly right. I mean, it's interesting.
But in the
first iteration of the play, there is a whole scene where idleness tries to teach ignorance his own name.
Oh my God.
And it is actually a really brilliant scene, and it's almost impossible to do over Zoom, which is why but it's basically ignorance, no, and it's just it keeps going back and forth, and
all I could think of is Phoebe trying to teach Joey on Friends French. Sorry.
This version is a slightly tidier version than the earlier play, which we don't actually have all of. The opening of the play is lost, but this one is complete, and it's almost like someone read the original play and went, oh, I can tidy this up. I can make this a little neater, and this is a sort of neater version of the play.
Did that happen often, or is this one of the first examples we have?
Nobody knows. We do have an earlier play that is clearly based on another one. So we've got which we have covered. We covered Youth and Hickscorner in the distant past, which are basically and they're early Tudor. They are basically rewrite. One's a rewrite of the other. I mean, they're quite different, but you can see structurally that they are the same on some level, and that they've been reworked into another play. In that case, possibly to reduce the cast size as well. So it's like, we had 5 actors. Can we get it down to 4? Yeah, that'll do.
Right. And in the case of rewrites, we generally don't know who the original author was and who the rewriter is. Is that...
Well, I say in this instance, we know exactly who the original author was. Almost certainly it was a chap called John Redford. And these are plays for students. These are boys' plays.
Sure.
And we know of the earlier play because it survives with some music as well. So we actually have the musical settings. So this is early boy playing in an academic setting that we definitely have in place. And a lot of the plays that we'll be we've danced with may or may not have come with a sort of academic crossover, because drama was allowed. It was fine, you see, if it was educational. We're going to get increasingly into this weird place where people will be haranguing this terrible thing of public drama.
Jeez.
But who are also people who use drama to educate children. So it's like, you can do it so long as no one's having fun.
Well, so it's like Florida, you know.
Yes.
Well, I'm curious. So, in a sense, is this like kind of like the theater for young audiences? Is it a script, like a school script?
Well, yeah, we've got lots of plays where it feels like it could be for them, it could be by them. Certainly, the schoolmasters seem to be writing them. We had a play earlier. I mean, this is the thing is, I'm thinking back to what we've done in this room. I don't know. Did we do Nice Wanton? Did we do that one together? It was a play from about the 1540s ish.
We definitely did a boys' play because we were talking about. One of the things that we noticed was how much dialogue versus speechifying there was. And you were saying that was because it would have been rehearsed with the boys.
Yeah, that seems to be what we think what's going on there. There's much more direct tutor on student action.
Yep.
I'll rephrase that.
Please do, yes.
I think we didn't discuss the question of Nicholas Udall earlier.
We did. That sounds so familiar. Yes.
But anyway, a play Nice Wanton is this very much a case of it looks like it's performed to teach it's theatre in education. You know, don't have fun, kids, or you will die.
That again. Okay.
Yeah, it's basically that. Whereas this one's more subtle. This is a more subtle play. It's about learning and talking about the balance between learning and fun. It's not saying you can't have fun. Right. It's just saying you've got to balance just mucking about and actually do some studying, and you've got to do the two.
What I find interesting was the line, "This fellow would be married to science, I understand." Just because it felt, in fact, here we are in the 1560s, but it felt like such a precursor to the Age of Enlightenment and sort of that movement, in fact, towards science as a savior, even more than using the word, let's say, reason or wisdom or morality. So it's just, I was a little shocked to see this sentiment to my mind, about 2 centuries early.
Yeah, well, to a degree, it's also a shift in meaning there. So, in the sense that science can be referring to that sort of area of study, but it also could be closer to just sapience in sort of understanding, knowledge, learning. So it's like your intelligence, your wit needs to be, and that's sort of effectively the same concept,
right?
But they're slightly different, and the way that these things wrangle each other. So it's a slight shift in meaning. That doesn't mean it doesn't also apply.
Something else that I found really interesting was that often I find with rhyming and highly metered pieces, I feel as a performer shoved into high pace. But for whatever reason, I'm not quite sure why, and perhaps one of you will have an idea. I felt that it was all right to really take time with this. To really slow the pace down, very, molto rubato type thing. A very lento type piece.
Yeah, that's an interesting observation because, usually couplets do kind of encourage you to just kind of hook into the next line. Then again, your character is named Idleness. So
It's true.
So I would suspect that the writer may be writing with an ear to not... Actually, we can look at the text, and I'm seeing a lot of periods at the end of your rhymes.
Well, and also...
Which might be part of the permission there.
Well, and then, as you're saying, also séjour is in many of these lines, a lot of commas, colons, so the phrasing can slow you down as well.
Yeah, but I do see at the end of almost every line, there's actually every line I can see so far. Yeah, either a full stop or a comma or a colon.
That may not be authorially accurate, of course. So always beware the punctuation. Always beware the punctuation.
True. Yes, this could have been tidied up by any number of people.
Accurate.
But even so, phrasally, none of them end on sort of a forced enjambment.
Yes, musically, it does give you that permission to take your time if you want. Yeah,
I was checking it. It is largely pentameter, which is interesting, which gives you just more. Because I'm thinking the ones that really forced me through were ones that were in 4, which we feel as music. 1, 2, 3, 4, keep it moving type thing, and that pentameter, that fifth one in sort of, we don't do 5/4 in Western music as much. And it certainly, we're going to be seeing the development, and I would suggest over-reliance on pentameter, where you have a base of 5 beats, increasingly. So it's interesting. It does, in fact, slow me down a bit, so I'm not just sort of hurtling through the piece, but I'm making sense of the piece.
And it's interesting comparing this with the earlier text, which I'm afraid I don't have up for you. Is that there is, I think, a more of a variation in the verse. I mean, the verse in this play seems to be pretty regular all the way through, and it's these couplets all the way through. I don't think it changes very much. I could be wrong on that point. But whereas he has this epic battle with the Tedious Monster in the original.
Amazing.
And the Tedious Monster comes on with incredibly short lines. I mean, it's practically Skeltonics, as I recall. I could be wrong on this. But it basically, the Tedious Monster comes on and does this massively long, tedious speech, which is sort of entertaining. It's a really difficult balancing act to be tedious and not actually tedious, to give the impression of tedium.
Yeah.
And he has this pitch battle, and he fights the Tedious Monster and loses in the original. The first time, and then he gets the weapons of science and learning and goes back and kills it. In this version, Tedious Monster doesn't talk for very long, and the lines are exactly the same verse structure as this. So there's a choice here to make it regular.
You sort of lost something. So you're right. Someone did come along and absolutely cleaned and regularized this up, with the exception, of course, of that song, which was clearly in some form of 4. The lines even were just, visually shorter. So someone came along, they did clean it up, but they may have taken away some of the character or some of the sort of musical time signature changes.
Yes,
Interesting.
I can give you a bit of the tedious monster.
Would love that. Yes, please.
Oh, the body of me, what cases be those that will not once flee from tedious nose? But this disease me out of my nest, when I should ease me this body to rest. That wit, that villain, that wretch, a shame take him. It is he plain that thus bold doth make him, without my licence, to stalk by my door, to that drab science to wed that whore.
Woohoo!
It's kind of fun.
Well, it's even got an ABAB rhyme scheme, so you've got something different, as well as it being, as you said, in sort of scale tonics, that dimeter, sometimes trimeter. But that's quite good rhyming and verse as well, because often when it's that short, the rhyme can overwhelm the meaning. But that was quite nice.
Well,
I
as
thought.
you were saying, Robert, it damn well be entertaining rhyme if your character has to play tedious. You better put it in the content.
It's a great point. It's a great point.
Off goeth thy head at the first blow. Ho, 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 ho.
No.
There you go.
For real? For real? Okay, so les poissons, les poissons.
It is ironic, I think, that the tedious monster is actually possibly the most entertaining element of the show. But I think it's witty as well, just as a concept, the idea that you have to fight tediousness, and you're bored to death.
Bored.
And literally, the
Can that
character
happen?
dies. He has to be revived like a mama's play.
Oh my God.
It's really interesting. Which is why I'm sort of annoyed we didn't cover it earlier, which is why I'm sort of throwing it in here.
Well, that's
as
right.
this
When
journey.
so that was the earlier play, yes? And around what date-ish do we put that?
Yes,
Ish.
let me...
So sorry, Rob.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I should just be more prepared. The audience can home to listen to the wheels moving on my chair. Yeah, 1544 approximately. So,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, play of Wit and Science by John Redford. So it's still just within the reign of Henry VIII. And that survives in manuscript. This is a printed play. I think this is the printed play. And we will come later on to the third version.
Ooh.
At the end
okay.
of the 1570s, which is why I have this as our introduction to the 1570s.
Just to touch base, so the previous one's from the 1540s. Is that when scale tonics were like...
They certainly
Is
existed
that the
by
same
then, yeah.
time? Same.
No, it's a
No.
little late in the day. I mean, Skelton
It is.
is he dead by 1540? He must be. I would have thought he's dead by now. But he was writing in the sort of 1520s ish.
Okay.
I think his play Magnificence survives around about then, because he's constantly writing things saying, "Hey Henry, I used to be your tutor. Would you like me to come back to court and do some stuff?" And it's like, no.
That's... Oh.
Resolutely the response. So it's in the world, and it's about, as are all the other verse forms.
Yeah.
Right, let us go into the 1570s. It's all right. We've only spent half an hour at the 1560s in the episode where we start the 1570s. It's fine. So 1560s is the first full decade of Elizabeth I's reign.
Right.
We've talked about previously previous monarchs sort of struggled with the changing of the guard, because they had this tendency to keep dying, and so the church kept flip flopping. So it went from not quite really Protestantism under Henry, because he just wanted the break from Rome and the power and the money and an annulment. Then his son goes full on Protestant. Then his daughter goes full on Catholic, and then Elizabeth sort of tries to compromise. And Elizabeth spends the first 12 years or so of her reign just doing a merry dance of, hey, we don't ask, don't tell. You're Catholic, that's fine. Just conform, come to church. But if you happen to hold a mass somewhere, that's just don't tell us about it. It's fine. It's okay. It's fine.
Okay.
And she also is doing this diplomatic game, which is, of course, she's using the potentiality of her getting married as a diplomatic gambit for people to just keep engaging with her as monarch. Because, maybe we can marry her to a Catholic prince, and maybe she'll, we can turn that around. Maybe which way is the country going to go? And she keeps that dance going. And there comes a point when I think everybody twigs that the marriage thing is never actually going to happen.
Yeah.
And she also reaches an age where the odds on a child is unlikely. And she spent the first 12 years, playing around with control. She has, restricted the use of religion in drama successfully in the way that her previous monarchs hadn't. They had all done sort of edicts and ordinances saying, don't talk about God, because the moment the Reformation happened, God was awkward to have a discussion about. But Elizabeth really sort of keeps legislating and keeps controlling, keeps trying to gather control. So there's increasingly what we will call censorship. There is a look at what is being printed. There is essentially, she doesn't really like preachers very much. She doesn't mind people giving sermons, but could you just stick to these specific topics when you do sermons? Edward, for example, loved sermoning. He would love to listen and really championed hearing people giving long and interesting and just engaging with the questions of evangelical Protestantism. Elizabeth didn't go in for that because you couldn't control it and you didn't know where it was going to go. And Protestantism is still, we can just about start calling it Protestantism around now.
Right, sure, it's still taking form, yeah?
Yeah. Which way are you going to go? Which way is the country going to go? So she's been slowly controlling things more and more. And some big things now happen in the 1570s. So 1570, she's excommunicated by the Pope.
That'll do it.
And that really... it's a disaster for the Catholic population. The Pope absolutely shits the bed, frankly. Because what happens there is they are told explicitly they cannot go to communion as a Protestant if they are Catholic. You cannot do that anymore. You cannot openly conform. But if you don't, that's borderline treason.
Treason? Yeah. Wow.
Because she's the head of the church, and you're supposed to acknowledge that she is the head of your church and that she is your supreme ruler in many, many ways. So that becomes a big problem. It's also the time when we are increasingly getting Jesuits coming across into England undercover in ways that, again, as far as the state is concerned, that's kind of the beginnings of an insurrection, potentially. It's deeply, deeply problematic for the government. And Elizabeth, who's been compromising left, right and centre, trying to not land in any way, who's surrounded effectively by hawks who just want to go, hey, should we just kill them all? Let's maybe we should do more killing. Inevitably the reign becomes more oppressive. For sometimes, just because people like being oppressive, but also because politically it's very difficult to be anything else when you are an absolute monarch. So, control becomes something a lot more of an issue in the 1570s. And whereas Elizabeth used to go on progress a lot in the 1560s, from this point onwards, she's travelling around the country less. She never really ever leaves the home counties. She doesn't travel too far north or west. She doesn't see much of her own country. She certainly doesn't travel abroad. And there are increasingly problems with the reign that it's very hard to square. There is a general sense of threat. This doesn't necessarily relate to any of the plays we're going to look at now, by the way, but just a little bit of context of what changes in 1570 onwards is that the tone of the nation, there's a shift. in what's going on here. And, you know, this is also when the success of books like The Acts and Monuments, Fox's Acts and Monuments, which is a book of Protestant martyrs, which is printed at the end of the 1550s, starts bearing fruit about now as well. You know, you've had 10 years or so of some pretty hardcore propaganda, and now you've got a really good reason to not like a certain subset of your population. That's also going to cause problems.
I see. I just looked it up. Also known as Fox's Book of Martyrs. Okay.
Yeah. And it is basically chapter. Here is someone who was burnt by Queen Mary. Here is a person who was burnt and it's basically a very long list of with woodcuts. There are lots of pictures. If you don't
I see
read very
that.
much.
Yeah, very beautifully done actually. But yeah, it's just an index of grievance.
So if you are a Catholic in England, things are going to get tougher from now on.
Right.
And even if all you want to do is just practice your faith in a state like this, that isn't really possible without looking really, really suspicious. And yeah, it gets worse as we go on. So that's just saying before we jump into a play that has nothing to do with any of that. So around about 1570, we get July and Julian. It's hang on. Do we have it there? It's interesting. I'm looking at different dates. I've got an earlier date for this. I'm gonna just check that I've not got this in the wrong place. I have different sources. Let's just say, but I may move this if I into a different thing. If I've just got this catalogued in the wrong place, because that says earlier. Quite firmly, HIJ.
Well, history is always subject to updates. What do we feel the preponderance may be?
For the real audience, you know. Did you know? Have you been studying? Did you catch us?
This is the reality of an archivist, folks.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. This has shocked me to the core because we've got even fewer plays now.
We can.
I could cut this out. It's fine.
Well, we may as well do it, and we can put it back in to.
Yeah,
to
I haven't done a
we
final edit on the earlier one. 3. Yeah, it seems to be earlier. 376. Oh well, we can talk about it, and then I can cut it, move around. Oh no, I've got a latest date of 1570, so it could go as late as 1570. So again, this is another boys group play that is possible. So it may have an earlier thing. It does definitely reference a king at some point, so that would explain an earlier date. Okay, so I'm going to keep it here. I'm going to keep all of that faffing in there. I'm assuming I pull it there because it was in the annals, and I didn't move it because Wiggins said that was fine, but the other one puts it there. That's fine. Okay, that's okay. So this is still possibly not really representative of the 1570s, maybe more of a lead-in, but that's okay. July and Julian. So, just for clarity, before we read any of this, not that it matters actually, but the plot is sort of a love story between July, who is a chap, yes, who is in love with a slave called Julian.
Wait.
Who is female. The names are really confusing because I assumed it was going to be Julie and Julian because of the July could be spelled, and I was assuming it was completely the opposite way round.
Oh.
And then you start reading it. So it's sort of like a Roman comedy. So in that sense, so you have a master, and you have slaves, and you have that sort of setting. None of which, again, matters for this scene, of which I have absolutely no context to give you because I can't remember why it's here. But it's a little comedy scene between Dick and Fennel. Yeah, and we probably won't get to the end because then some masters turn up. But I just this is more for the verse than it is for the what's going on in the play, because I think it dances around a bit. So Act 1, Scene 3. This is.
I'll take Fennel if that's cool.
Sure. I guess I will be Dick.
You'll be Dick, and I'll read in anyone else if we get that far. Okay.
Great.
Okay, so I'm Dick. All right. Among all creatures, less or mo, we poor little boys. I should have a little boy voice. Okay, hold on. Among all creatures, less or mo, we poor little boys abide much woe. At home, at school, and everywhere, we silly ones are put in fear. Hello, Mum, I'm going to wave to you.
All right, yeah, laugh break. That's awesome, and yeah, I'm so glad I didn't volunteer for that. All right, so Fennel speaks. By my troth, I may be bold to tell you my mind. Methinks mistress is too unkind towards you that be so gentle of nature. Ye might have played this day and taken your pleasure.
Yea, Fennel, in faith, she need not to be so sore to me, for I know no cause wherefore. The devil, I trow, doth make many men hate boys. Some cannot no wise away with boys' toys. I pray you, what is he that once boy has not been?
Now, sure, as you say, no such could never be seen.
Men may do what they list, God wot, so cannot we, for if I laugh, my father a wanton calleth me. If I be sad, my mother says I am dumpish and surly. Of all living things men be worst to please. Of all mankind, boys be least at ease. Of all boys, I dare say, none can be worse than I. Both my parents and masters handle me so shrewdly.
Indeed, your two masters play with you too lewdly. Uh-oh.
My father doth
it doesn't
worse
necessarily
to suffer
mean that.
them verily. If they were not, I should soon set them alight. And no marvel I am troubled, for even from morning to night, for first in the morning I am sent to grammar school, but to mope on an old book like a fool. A book! What is a book? What can one make of it?
Actually, pause. Contextual note, how recent after the printing press is this?
It's been going for a good 70, 80 years by this point.
Okay.
With the earlier date, I mean about 90.
But potentially living memory, so that's actually still extra funny to me. Anyway, okay, so picking up. Sir, if you speak for goodness, I trow never a whit.
Thou seest they be naught else but paper, ink, and pen. As many babes, pilgraves, and scrapings of a hen. Everything that God made for some good end was made, and sometimes for somewhat some men were thereof glad. But books, doubtless, the devil our own grace from hell did fet, sith they be good for naught but to make boys bet. Afternoon at song school, I have another cost. Either mine ears be set to the pillory and set to the lost.
Alas, good Master Dick, all men may perceive plain how piteously your tender age is put to too much pain. But you must needs take it patiently till time you be a man. You are in a manner one already, as so far as I judge can.
So I will, but iced handle... Oh, iced, wow. So I will, but iced handle all my masters then. I will pay them home for an old grudge, Fennel, you knowest when, because he o' the song school mine ears so well can pull. When I am a man of the pillory, his ears shall stretch their full, and he that my buttocks for grammar hath slain, his body, if I live, I will slay again. Oh my God.
Is this the haste you make in the morning, coming to the school on this fashion loitering? Why, sirrah, can you see no sooner rise, and make no more haste? Will it be no otherwise? Up with him, take him up.
Oh, good masters, hear me.
Sir, my mistress hath her commended unto you, desiring you to pardon little Master Dick, for he has tarried with his uncle. Besides, he is sick.
You are sick, Master Dick. I am glad I know ye. Take him up. I will drive you, maledict, from ye. Thou milcher, wilt thou loiter?
No! Oh, never while I live. Schoolmasters be fiendish fellows. Ye may me believe.
It's so funny.
This is a theme that will return a lot, and it's. Okay. I think it's already been present. Certainly, the idea of the student getting their own back at their master. We've had that 100 years earlier than this in Occupation and. No, is it? Yeah, occupational idleness, a bit of it, but it's in a text called Lucidus and Dubius, where literally the student returns to his old master and says, "I'm going to get you. You used to beat me at school.
Do you know?
I'm going to get you." So that's a recurring thing. Servants getting the worst of it is very much a recurring theme, and this is very much like school. You can imagine it. Now it's interesting, just the idea of Dick having a double meaning. I don't think at this time it did in the way that it does for us today.
Right.
But then this text makes me question that because it does land in a delightfully comic way.
Well, it treads. It is that naughty schoolboy thing, of treading. Ooh, do we mean it one way or another? Because actually, the maledict was rather clever. I thought, like genuinely clever. I don't know that, but that's interesting. That's interesting. I wonder what the etymology of using Dick the way we do now.
I don't think it's actually that old. I seem to recall when we did this or other plays of a similar nature that someone said, "Is this what it's?" I think it is, and I think we did a little check. But then sometimes people have been wrong,
Yes, and I was a bit eager with the popcorn commentary during this scene. My apologies. So yes, lewdly at this time, I take it does not mean what the modern
not
connotation
automatically.
is.
It can do, but it's more just it will have a slightly. There'll be a shift in its meaning. Not everything automatically leads where you think it will.
Gotcha.
Well, to be sluttish, I believe even up through I forget when, not quite Victorian, a little bit earlier than that, meant to be lazy.
A slattern doesn't do the proper cleaning doesn't look after the house properly, and will be not necessarily correct in her dress, and will be a bit of a slut. As a Tory MP used in that fashion only 10 years ago in public.
No.
Or at least that was the excuse of the definition he was using.
Sure. I was just really well educated, so I can use the word slut
Yeah.
in Parliament.
Yeah. My apologies, I'm too well read.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was speaking in the etymological sense.
Yeah.
The arcane, in the arcane sense of the term. Yeah.
This piece was very fun, but in terms of the rhyme, it was back to being very wrenched.
I think, again, that's possibly the shift in just pronunciation.
I don't think it's just that, because it was also, maybe, but also doing I guess what I'm thinking in a larger wrenched sense of doing Yoda speak.
Yes, I was going to bring that up.
Please, go for it, Colin.
Oh, I had the same exact observation that there were certain lines, especially, it's, there's a reason that often we approach these texts deliberately cold on mic to expose awkwardnesses exactly like that, where in order to meet the author, what the author's hearing meter-wise in their head, they just rearrange the syntax in a way that a normal human would never do, in order to get it to fit. Wrenched is a great term for this, because it feels like it's wrenched into place,
Well, I'm looking at one actually that's a terrific example of wrenched rhyme, and it's actually a triplet, which is rather interesting. It's not a couplet, So Dick says, men may do what they list, God wot, so cannot we. For if I laugh, my father a wanton calleth me. If I be sad, my mother says, I am dumpish and surly. And so wrenched rhyme is when essentially the meter is off. So sure, we have we, me, surly. Technically that rhymes. Technically that's a perfect rhyme. But it's a wrenched rhyme because the stresses don't rhyme for in English, as Gorgeous George helped us learn. Rhyme in English, although curiously, not till I was looking it up, the 1575 or so is when he published his bit about Posey. So we can excuse everyone prior to 1575. But part of English rhyme is that the stress pattern needs to be the same, not just the vowels. So here we have calleth me, and surly doesn't actually work because it's bum, bum, bum. So stress, So we'll say strong, soft, soft. And surly is actually soft, strong, soft.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, and so cannot we so cannot we and calleth me, that kind of works because those are both dactyls. Strong, soft, soft. Ba, 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 ba. You hear that downward motion. And it's even nicer because you get a stronger sense of rhyme or chiming with cannot we, calleth me. So you've got the same even alliteration going on there, right? As well as the rhyming assonance vowels with we and me. But dumpish and surly, dumpish and is the dactyl, but surly is just a trochee. And so you kind of feel like you need to expand you have to say surly a little weird to get the sense of calleth me. It needs to be dumpish and surly or something like that in order to get the exact perfect rhyme that includes the stress.
That makes sense.
Or worse than I, shrewd lie, which that might be a pronunciation thing, but the other one is a stress
I'm fairly
thing.
certain that would be a shrewd lie. It's also the dumpish and surly is this extra line. Because we got three rhymes in a row.
Yeah, it's a triplet. Although it seems like he does that occasionally here, shrewdly, lewdly, verily. I mean, because you could. Is it
I shrewd lie,
lewdly, verily, lewd lie, verily? Well, but even that lewd lie, verily. No, it's not too bad, I guess. But anyway, it's a little wrenched. Mm-hmm.
And actually, both of you are free to remind me if this is novel at this point in time, but I'm noticing shared lines between Fennel and Dick, and often Fennel is actually completing a rhyme that's begun by Dick. That could be the author just complying with the form or using the tool that's right in front of them, but I just wanted to flag it as something that we're well familiar with at this point in modern history, but that I don't recall seeing so much in the texts up to this point. Where, for example, Dick says, "Both my parents and masters handle me so shrewdly." Fennel replies, "Indeed, your two masters play with you too lewdly." There's a completed rhyme, and that's kind of using that hooking forward energy. So it's interesting to see that show up in 1570.
We've definitely had it earlier, and also shared lines as well as shared rhymes.
Right.
And again, it's something that you see, or you seem to see more in a boy context, as it were.
Yes, because they can actually rehearse with each other. And so sort of get the music of when is it my turn to speak. So later on where we have half lines, shared lines between characters, with the master having the first half of the line. And
gotcha.
Dick having
so that's
the
an established
half of the
tool by this point. Then.
It is, but we don't see it as much as we see it as I expect to see this with Globe Rose, with the period that most people are familiar with.
Sure.
I think it turns up a lot in comedy. I think that's where we really see it, and I think I suspect it's in a fair number of interludes. Actually, we really dug through them all.
Something though. That hold on, what was I going to say? In terms though of in fact shared rhymes. Something that I feel like I haven't seen yet, and maybe I just am not remembering, or we just haven't stumbled across it, or I haven't been looking for it, is using rhyme, I should say, shared rhyme. So where just because you did a rhyme setup doesn't mean you do the rhyme punchline, as it were, is used as character building, right? Insofar as if you are having a dialogue, but your lines are rhyming, someone can steal a rhyme, and so like they choose how it's going to end, or you could do the thing of hooking forward of like, we're on the same page, and so we both can rhyme with each other. The Mischief Theater, who does the, Goes Wrong plays, they had a brilliant, in the Goes Wrong TV show, they have one that's sort of a Duckman type piece, but it's actually all in rhyme and not blank verse. So it's much more just, let's say, an early modern piece. But what they did with rhyme was one of the actor characters realized that if he says the setup weird in a funny way, then the guy who has to rhyme with him also has to say that final word in whatever funny way has just been said in order to force it to rhyme. So if it's like, and then I saw my boy, then guy two, who's a very serious actor, has to say, da 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 da, all my joy. And, so using rhyme in a way to create character interaction. And I haven't seen that as much. So even here, like with Fennel answering, it doesn't. It does have the inherent hooky forward quality. Rhyming can give you an inherent hooky forward quality, but I'm curious to see when we start seeing people like steal rhymes or subvert rhymes or lead rhymes or things like that.
Right, and yeah, it's. What was I going to say? Was I say anything? I don't think I was going to say anything interesting at all. I'm looking something up, you see, so I'm sort of doing two things at the same time. I just
would you like me to just faff about some more so you can
No, I just there's just a commentary from English Dramatic Interludes, 1300 to 1580, by Darrell Grantley, and I think this very much applies to the scene we've just read. The scene involves schoolmasters, and more generally the role of the younger brother, are gratuitous elements that may have been included because of the play's clear school auspices. So we've just been reading one of the more gratuitous elements. I don't have a problem with that.
Can I just give one? It's wicked fun. Can I just give one? I'm always trying to remember what good wrenched rhymes are. So can I give a quick look here? So we have Fennel say, "Little Master Dick, besides he is sick." And do you hear how that essentially the melody is the same? Da ba da ba da ba da 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 da. Right? Little Master Dick, besides he is sick. And so it feels good. But the last line, I know I messed up because it's never while I live, ye may me, believe. Okay, that's, let me say believe, or whatever, live.
Or believe, maybe.
Believe, right. But ye may me is actually very difficult to say because you've got the, ye... I don't know. The vowels are in weird places. There's sort of too many Y's pushing things out. It's like the I live, even if it's be live, like it does while I live, me, it's just awkward.
It's just hard to get your mouth around.
Yeah.
There is also just text from, I should thank Helen Good, who actually transcribed this from manuscript. Or copies of the manuscript.
Well done, Helen.
So this
Special
is
thanks, Helen.
A transcription that I don't think is really available anywhere. It's one of the plays I do want to try and get our version good enough. So there are occasionally some questions as to there may be some, as this is effectively a rough transcription, there may be errors that may not be authorial. Just throwing that in.
Sure. But
that's not a shade on Helen, by the way.
No.
These things are done at something of a rush, and we haven't gone back and done the kind of editorial work that we would like to do.
Well, there's no other way to do this, to do that last line in order to get all the grammar out and keep the rhyme than to, in fact, how it is written.
Right.
Because ye me may believe, that's even weirder, but English is in this transitional state from having the German construction of language, which is sort of what sounds to us like a little bit Yoda-speaky. And it's those inversions are things that would be perhaps correct in a different language that is one of our one of the many languages we've inherited from.
So like a Saxon root kind of exposing itself?
Yeah.
Germanic or Teutonic?
Well, in this case, ye may me believe. Well, the other thing that makes it weird is that it's a split vowel. Because you're not supposed to put words, verb. It should be may believe. You put verb. I keep saying vowels. You put verbs together in English, and you're not meant to split them up. I mean, we do all the time, but
right. But it's not it's not the syntax that our ear has learned to expect.
At least now. So that's because we've seen this so much. This grammatical construction so much in so many earlier pieces. And so part of the skippingness is always just how grammar is functioning now as language ever evolves.
So that's a play that could exist any time from the sort of 1540 through to 1570.
It's a liminal play.
The next text we're going to look at, I've got down as early 1570s. But again, this one could be 20 years old. It broadly speaking, could even nip a little earlier than listed. It really does. This is the problem with dating. And actually, I think the reason why I put July and Julian where I did, which just simply had so little in the 1570s, I thought I'd just put it there. As it's the latest date it could be, so let's give us some more. Fair. So this one is New Custom. Which is an incredibly boring play. I don't often do down my plays. It's very rare that but I seem to recall that the readers didn't enjoy this one very much. But
okay.
I'm normally I don't do them down, but I seem to recall that there are limits, because this is very much a Protestant propaganda exercise of going. So if you look at the character names you can see here, we have New Custom versus Perverse Doctrine.
Oh, okay.
So
I don't think we've seen one of these yet.
Yeah, so this is where mentioning where Protestantism versus Catholicism is in the early 1570s means this is a very appropriate place to put it, even if it's an earlier text. So Perverse Doctrine here is obviously Catholicism, and New Custom is, of course, the correct. And New Custom here is effectively the figure of a young upcoming priest. I think that's young minister, and he's very much all keen on reading the Bible in English, whereas Perverse Doctrine is the vice figure who is there to undermine New Custom at every opportunity. And I say, at this historical juncture, as we start getting the missionary priests coming over, this potentially has an additional whole layer to how an audience then would have received it, whereas we sort of go, whatever.
Well, there's a potentiality then that Perverse Doctrine is a political operative as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So, do you want to play Perverse Doctrine?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So, yeah, in this context, Perverse Doctrine actually has a mate by him, and they've been watching New Custom doing his newfangled preaching, and now he's basically going to troll him. That's, I think, basically what you're doing.
Okay.
You're going to troll the new Custom.
I think I can do that. Awesome. Are we ready?
Sorry, I feel like today's plays are just revealing to us that social media has always been the same. Anyway.
Honestly, yeah, no, whatever, humanity has always found a way to snipe at each other through whatever communicative media. I think is really one of the lessons we're learning.
Yeah. Le plus ça change.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, shall we begin?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, so this is Perverse Doctrine beginning here. To New Custom. Ah, Sirrah, you have made a fair speak here today. Do you look for any reward for your deed? It were good to beat thee till thy head bleed, or to scourge thee well-favouredly at a cart's tail, to teach such an whoreson to blaspheme and rail at such holy mysteries and matters so high as thou speakest of now, and railed at so late lie.
What mean ye, sir, or to whom do you speak? Art you minded on me your anger to wreak, which have not offended as far as I know?
I speak to thee, knave. Thou art mad, I trow. What meanest thou to rail right now so contemptuously at the chiefest secrets of all divinity?
Verily, I railed not, so far as I can tell. I spake but advisedly, I know very well, for I will stand to it whatsoever I said.
Wilt thou so? But I will make thee well apaid to recant thy words. I hold thee a pound, before thou depart hence out of this ground.
No, that shall you not do if I die therefore.
Thou shalt see anon, go to, prattle no more, but tell me the effect of the words which were said.
To recite them again, I am not afraid. I said that the Mass and such trumpery as that, popery, purgatory, pardons, were flat against God's word and primitive constitution, crept in through covetousness and superstition, of late years through blindness and men of no knowledge, even such as have been in every age.
Now, precious whoreson, thou hast made a lie. How canst thou prove that? Tell me, by and by.
It needeth small proof. The effect doth appear. Neither this is any place for to argue here, and as for my saying, I hold the negative. It lieth you upon to prove the affirmative, to show that such things were used in antiquity, and then I can easily prove you the contrary.
Standest thou with me on school points? Dost thou so indeed? Thou hadst best to prove me whether I can read. Thinkest thou I have no logic? Indeed, thinkest thou so? Yes, pringcocks that I have, for 40 years ago, I could smatter in a dunce prettily, I do not jest. Better, I am sure, than 100 of you, whosoever is best.
Truly.
Is the best.
I believe you. For in such fond books you spend idly your time and wearied your looks. More better it had been in books of holy scripture, where as virtue is expressed and religion pure, to have passed your youth and the Bible and such, than in these trifles to have dolted so much. Not more to have regard a duns or a questionist than you would the words of a holy evangelist.
What? For a child to meddle with the Bible?
Yea, sure, more better than so to be idle.
Is study than idleness? That is a new term.
They say better to be idle than to do harm.
What harm doth knowledge? I pray thee, tell me.
Knowledge puffeth up. In St. Paul, you may see.
And on they go. On they go
Spicy.
for a while. Actually, maybe I'm thinking of a different play. Maybe this one was quite fun. There's a nice sort of battle to this, isn't it, Colin?
Oh, yeah.
It's because we're such
very-
great actors.
I mean, yeah, it's
No,
fun.
no.
It's like it is a very much there's a note of polemic, at least in perverse doctrine. But just a contextual note here. So the word, what I read as dunce and what Emily read as duns, is that a reference to John Duns Scotus, the really significant theologian, or is that just a different spelling of?
Well, I don't know. The reason it's in bold in your text is because I don't know. Because I haven't looked it up. However, I may be able to answer this question for you with a turn of the Wiggins might actually have a reference for that, because I had several thoughts as to what it might be, and that's why I haven't gone for one. But
well, maybe we're all going to learn something together then.
Happening in real time.
544.
Because it is spelled, for the listener or the listener's benefit, it is spelled and it is capitalized both places, D-U-N-S, which is in fact the way John Duns Scotus's middle name was spelled. And John Duns Scotus was an early theologian to argue in favor of the Immaculate Conception, if I remember correctly.
Oh.
It's from him that we get the prayer to Our Lady about defending.
Oh, you win big today. You win big today.
Oh!
Absolutely bang on.
Hold on.
Wow.
Which prayer do we get from him?
Being a nerd for many years pays off.
Duns Scotus, yeah. Quod libiter is the text apparently that they're referencing.
No, that makes a lot of sense, because then, especially in a period of debate, Duns Scotus's works would have absolutely been citations in the conversation. That's very cool. Scotus. I'm unintentionally kind of hyping up a historical theological figure, but he's very interesting.
Which prayer
cool.
did you do?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was he was going into, and this is an anecdotal story that I heard at a retreat many years ago, but I have been told that give me essentially, like, he paused before a statue of Our Lady before going to defend the notion of the Immaculate Conception, and said essentially, give me strength against your enemies is the last line of the prayer. I forget the whole text. It's a rather obscure Marian prayer, but
okay. I thought maybe it was one of the big ones, and I was like,
no, it's not. It's not a mainstream one, like the Memorare or anything like that.
This is one of the deep cut hits.
Yeah, very much Catholic
B-side.
nerd only would be like, I think this reminds me of this. Yeah. Wow,
Okay.
that was way in my back pocket.
Well done, Colin.
I don't know what a questionist is, though. I assume that's.
I also don't know that.
No.
I'm sure that's a specific reference.
It's capitalized as well.
Yeah, so no.
Some ideological tendency.
Yeah, questioning things. How dare you? Sounds
but
awful.
possibly.
Yeah. So yeah, say that bounced along quite nicely. Thoughts. Well, I say quite nicely. I mean, there seemed to be some struggle with some of the lines.
Well, again, we've got some wrenched rhymes happening in here, and what I was noticing is that we don't have. Sometimes, in a lovely way, we have lines that are 5 feet long, some that are 4, some that are 6. I say nicely because I find that can be very lovely in verse drama, to have a mix rather than a strictness to the number of beats. But sometimes that's the exact thing that was like tripping us up. And we had a few wrenched rhymes again and again. Some of them, like the matter's so high, so late lie. You know, you got, which is great. I can see if I can find any of the other wrenched rhymes. But what I really liked about this is it was fun and surprising to have enjambment, because it felt like a purposeful enjambment in a way that some of the medieval texts did not feel like purposeful enjambments. Although I remember maybe it was Skelton that had, it's always exciting when the enjambment is exciting and sort of forces you on and changes the rhythm, rather than being a little awkward. So I guess there were some exciting enjambments in here, which is nice to see. And as well, what made the ending part so great is that there was not, there was a sort of rhythm or musicality to the length of each of our speeches.
Most certainly.
So,
yes.
So the thing I was just asking, can we go to the very bottom there again, Rob, if you don't mind scrolling down? When we have this stickamithia, which is you get a line, I get a line, you get a line, I get a line. Yeah. My very question was, will we be using rhyme in a way that serves basically the point of the scene or the point of this particular emotional beat? And when we get down to this of perverse doctrine always has the first line, and new custom wins by essentially being able to bat back a rhyme, a full line. And since we also are having some lovely stickamithia insofar as the melody of the first line is very similar to the melody of the batting back line, you get the wonderful tennis match feel. And because custom is going second, custom is winning the rhyming match. As well as it's just nice because you're hearing voices go faster and faster, so you get a sense of increasing pace. Whereas, again, looking at rather in terms of the pace, I didn't feel that I needed to rush, in part because the words were just very much more scholarly, right? Than sort of, sometimes it's drivel to get through, and so, and as well as there is, again, a lot of commas, essentially caesures in the middle of lines to slow you down, so that when you get to the stickamithia of back and forth, it gets exciting again. So we have tempo changes is what I'm getting at, but tempo changes that come in a satisfying point of essentially the scene arc.
Yeah, it's the content interacting with the form.
Yes.
Exactly. I was going to point that out, that it is new custom completing the couplet, which you have the form naturally supporting the conclusion that the author intends, which is for the audience to feel most satisfied with what new custom is replying with. Yeah. And that's using the tool that way provides you a sense of landing each time new custom speaks. I also did look up questionist, by the way.
Oh, nice.
So there's a couple things it could mean. The modern meaning is one that questions especially intensively or habitually. That's one it could be. But in the arcane sense, an obsolete meaning is like someone just who goes, a schoolman, like an academic. An archaic meaning is a candidate for a bachelor's degree in certain British universities during the last term before final examinations.
Yes,
so someone who's just about to get a degree.
Yes, I know about this. So yes, it's one of the things about the way debates are structured. That there is a formal way of the way you sort of interrogate ideas, and it's something we'll come on. Remind me in the future. I'll do a little additional reading on this, but it's actually really interesting, and it's very important to understanding the education that later writers like Marlowe and his contemporaries who went to university would have in the way that they are taught. And the dialectic and there's something very interesting there, actually, about the structure of having essentially a series of questioners, and you're supposed to support or move on an argument, and the way that actually works is actually quite interesting.
This makes me think of Ben Jonson defending himself in court in Latin. Getting off the and he also got off the hook too.
Yeah, well, that's
killing someone.
Yes, that's a slightly different privilege. So that's if you
much
effectively
later.
if you get it's this period as well. It's the difference between ecclesiastical courts and common courts. So if you can prove that you are an educated person, you are therefore effectively a member of the clergy, and therefore you can.
Wow.
I'm simplifying this enormously, but basically, if you were educated and you'd murdered someone, you could, if you could read a line of Latin. I'm not making this up.
It's just
if you could read a line of Latin and prove that you were educated, you could be. You've effectively got off the murder charge. You would be. In Ben Jonson's case, he was branded.
ouch.
But he was. He killed someone.
Otherwise,
in a duel, and he, because he could read Latin, he got off the rap.
Thank you for the context around that, because all I knew was that that's so wild.
I need a short skit play now about that. I need.
Well, think about it as a class thing as well. I mean, you think
if
you are not an educated person and you kill someone, you're deaded. Whereas Ben Jonson effectively gets off scot-free. I mean, he doesn't completely, but he is a branded man, and I think there's a fine. I can't remember off the top of my
he's
head.
mildly cancelled.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Let's put it this way. Remember, he killed an actor. So he wasn't popular. Okay, when we get to this later on, because this, we're about 30 years,
Right?
20, 30 years
it's
out.
great. I've never studied Johnson because his plays are so deeply uninteresting to me. And now I'm realizing...
you will eat your words later. When we get to Johnson...
Volpone is a lot of fun.
Oh, this is great. I'm looking forward to eating my words.
Yeah. The problem with Johnson... Okay, we're going off on a tangent, but the problem with Johnson is the versions of the text we get are the expanded director's cuts. So they're enormous things. They are not the theatrical cuts.
So they're not the Snyder cuts. Okay.
No. So what he's done is, because he's adapted them for literature, he's semi-de-theatricalized them.
Oh my God.
So he's there's an early play, The Case is Altered, is quite close to what a Ben Jonson play on stage would have been like, and because it's quite short.
Rob, you're hurting me because this is important for my thesis. Keep going. Now I have to read it.
Oh no.
Yeah. Whereas, and there was another problem. That he also had a fire, so I think a lot of his early stuff, some of it disappears. So he does disappear up his own arse. It's absolutely true. But it's a case of, by trying to protect his literary legacy, he kind of destroys it.
Right.
Because he's trying to cater to this idea of his works, his great works to be published
as literature,
rather than as theatrical. So we have to guess what is the theatrical cut. And when you go through the plays and you say, right, what are we cutting? Because they're all ridiculously long, are ridiculously long. Then you find the good stuff. And the thing is, what he does is he will write the same joke about 5 different ways.
Yeah.
Well, you just pick one that you like. And then move on.
Editing work. Oh my god.
And that's the problem. And that is actually, as a producer, that is not a problem, because it gives you options. And that's what Johnson gives you. But the problem is, nobody wants to do the work. You pick up the play and you go, I would like to put this play on. No, I don't. And that's the same problem with it's a different problem, but the same problem with a play like Gorboduc, which looks awful on the page, and you have to key into the certain kind of theatrical product. But actually, when you dig into it, you go, oh no, there's some good stuff here. There's some good stuff. You just have to decide what you're going to do with it. And that's the question we ask for every play we do. And it's really hard, because people really won't give Johnson a chance, because they won't do the thing of going, well, we need to make editorial changes to this because of the texts we have. Whereas often it's the other way around. The plays are too short because they've been damaged by whatever the printer or whatever someone's done in the way.
Right.
And we need to add. Whereas with Johnson, it's no, what do you cut? What do you cut? And it's not an unusual thing for early modern drama to need to be cut.
That's one of the games that you play if you specialize in classical, in like directing classical work, is in fact that it is anticipated that you will be doing a cut.
Yeah.
That's why it's always proclaimed if you're doing it just as printed by fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people need to be warned.
Oh yeah,
Yes, they do.
when we did our recent Winter Rebels, there was this is uncut, people, and luckily we're doing quite short plays, so it was fine. In one case we had to add because it was too short.
That's exciting.
And also not very good for audio, so we had to add dialogue to explain what was going on. Anyway, tangent.
Yes.
So we have finished New Custom, generally dated around 1571, and just to recap where we are politically as well. So I mentioned some of the big stuff. Elizabeth, in the late 1560s, she has a rebellion as well. There's a rising in the north.
I'm so sorry. May I just say one last thing about the play that we just did?
Yes.
Is that I was expecting, because we've done many plays. We started this session with plays where characters aren't people, they're ideas, right? Very, 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 very common. And
Yes,
knowing that this was going to be religious propaganda, I was sort of I was bracing myself for essentially the 1571 version of Pure Flix, right? If you guys know what that is, they do like the God's Not Dead series, or the things of that ilk. So I was expecting to have nothing to play other than very much a caricature. And while, Colin, you may have felt a caricature perhaps in Perverse Doctrine.
Certainly.
Actually, as New Custom, so I expected to feel pedantic. I expected to feel used as a mouthpiece for ideas. But I was surprised to find that there was an element of humanity. That New Custom could have been called Bob or something like that.
Yeah.
So I just wanted, kudos to the author. So yes, it's political. Yes, it's religious, but there's humanity crept into the characterization there. Sorry, Rob, to interrupt you. Just wanted to make sure I said that. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Colin.
Actually, since we've returned, I also would like to observe that it's a genuinely effective debate they're having. It's not just caricature. There's a note of exaggeration perhaps in Perverse Doctrine, but certainly not. There's nothing really that's inaccurate as far as I can tell. And New Custom,
I'm sure there's more slander available in the text.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, I'm thinking
we're just looking at a clip, but I'm impressed.
We did a while ago where it was the two people. Where you Rob, you think it's the two people more or less talking at the same time. You had us talking over each other, and trying to get the
Pardoner and the Friar by John Hayward.
That's it. Right. Which is hilarious, but it's a bit. It wasn't characters doing this. It wasn't inherently characters doing it.
Oh no! In the rest of the play, it is.
It is.
To be fair, yeah, they've got characters.
They've got a bit more characters.
They absolutely have characters.
So just a reminder, though, that in Western culture, if you want your polemic to go down more smoothly, try to learn how to write a bit of character. Anyway, there we are.
and the idea of a debate play, this kind of debate, or other debates, this goes back to Lucidus and Dubius in the middle of the 15th century. This, and it probably exists, and it's connected to education. This idea of being able to debate, teaching you how to debate. This is part of that educational process, which is why it's there. And the question of who's performing it as well as who's watching it comes into play there.
Though, Rob, that's a really interesting point of theater, not just theater in education, but theater as education. And it's something that, that was, as far as I understand, the history as it's taught to us. So I'm going to presume that this is a truth, which again, go forth and correct the history if the view is wrong. But, the anti-theatrical tradition, which we're about to come up against again, the one is basically really a tradition that says all of performance, and in fact all of art, is meant to be polemic, is meant to be educational, is in fact not meant to be too fun, is in fact not meant to be sort of a mirror up to nature, but in a neutral stance. It's meant to educate, it's meant to persuade, it's not just meant to entertain.
Yes.
And and that's how it was revived, as far as I understand, with the morality plays. So one of the things that I was feeling in the previous one, in the 1560s, was when we were doing the Seneca, every time we do a play that's just people being people, because I think we even felt this a little bit back, in the Henry VIII, there were some Henry VIII plays that felt like, ooh, we're just gonna kind of do some fun for the heck of it.
I'm going to push back on the idea that
please do.
Yes, the primary texts that survive to us are either religious, the God play, or they are debate plays like this, and that's partly because that's what's considered worthy to survive. We have enough evidence to say there is plenty of material where people are just having fun and doing silly things.
Well, like the Robin Hood plays, right?
Yeah, Robin Hood plays, which did we touch on those last time? Did we skip through them a bit?
I think we did like a fragment or two way back when.
Yeah, but also we did Dame Syriafa back in the day. We know there is a secular tradition of doing silly stuff that isn't debate or isn't explicitly, but it just doesn't survive in the records.
Let me throw.
But
this
it's
out.
absolutely true. It's used in education, and in education, drama is considered fine. People always complain about drama once it goes out into the public and people have fun. And bishops in time immemorial have had problems with the drama because the Pope banned it back in the day, at the beginning of Christianity.
St. Augustine hated drama.
Absolutely. So in post-Roman, it's been banned in theory but in practice, of course, it never actually disappears. Because if you keep banning something, that means it hasn't gone away.
That's such a great point. But the other thing that I want to
it's also a Streisand effect.
One of the things that's intriguing to me, though, is the idea of, okay, we have silly plays, but there isn't, or rather, I'm curious to see the sort of reinvention of just story for sake of story that isn't necessarily silly and isn't necessarily educational. So it's not about that. That's, again, just story for the sake of story, the art for the sake of the art itself, and not sort of co-opted for a purpose or used in its sort of most inoffensive or masquerading in an offensive sense of like, oh, we're just being, whatever it may be, herpaderp.
We've generally been having. There's been a drift towards that throughout the sort of 1550s, 60s, and the texts we've had.
Definitely.
Plays that have a plot, but and are telling a story, and there may be some moral thrown in and things like that. But you could argue to a degree the morality play tradition has always been full of a weird mishmash, and actually how seriously you're supposed to take the debate element is a really big question, especially when you have plays like King Darius where you're going, is this a spoof? What is going on?
Yeah.
So I'm going to
anyway. Sorry.
So just to go back, just to recap where we are, so anyone listening who's skipped in halfway through want to know where we are. So late 1560s. I did mention earlier, as I say, there was a rising in the north in 1569 against Elizabeth. So just before she's excommunicated. So there's trouble at home as well as abroad. And actually, just to note, I should note that the York mystery cycles are starting to disappear. The York one disappears in 1569 and is never seen again. So all those mystery plays we did ages ago, they've been current. They've still been going on in the background until about now, and this is because Elizabeth didn't die. She kept going, and the disincentives beat the incentives for keeping mystery cycles going. So 1570, Elizabeth gets excommunicated. 1571, where we've just been, new custom approximately around about here. We have the Ridolfi plot, and Elizabeth is... bad things are going on between Elizabeth and Spain. It's not going well. So people are trying to kill Elizabeth now. Oh. Because she's been excommunicated. Pope says, hey, kill who you like. They roll that back, by the way, because they don't like the idea of people killing monarchs. but there is a sort of
I could
incentive
understand.
now to kill Elizabeth. So you know,
Wow.
she's not just paranoid; they are actually out to get her. And yeah, relations with Spain are going very, very badly. 1572, we're about to sort of dip into, and lots of stuff happened there. But we're just going to read a little bit. I've given you the whole fragment. This is a play called Love Feigned and Unfeigned. It has, again, another quite wide dating range, but again could live happily in the early 1570s, around about the same time as New Custom. It's a fragment. We don't have the whole play. And I just want us to read just the opening a little bit. So it's basically familiarity and love unfeigned. There's feigned love and there's unfeigned love and stuff. It's a morality play, allegorical figures, stuff. And I just want to just as I scroll down, you can see that possibly that verse is not the most even in the universe. So
Is it all right if I try out Love Unfeigned? Would that be okay, Colin?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll read the first two lines. We don't know who says the first two lines,
Great.
but it's possibly the character of Fellowship. So, Colin, if you'll be familiarity,
Yes.
I'm assuming that we are vices. Familiarity and Fellowship are perhaps a little
Oh, so
tricky
Fellowship a little
people.
bit more like, a roister doister, and familiarity being like
we are
over familiar type thing.
agents of chaos on some level.
Okay.
Whereas Love Unfeigned, I forget the precise plot of this. I'll be able to talk
We'll
about it
find
later.
out. It's a fragment.
Once we get through. But I say we'll just do the opening of this. We won't do the whole fragment because it's a reasonably chunky one.
Okay.
How may I do with him to meet my heart is set on fire till I him see in present place, which is my heart's desire.
No doubt, but love will present be his succor for to lend. He will unto you, Fellowship, his favours large extend. Enter Love Unfeigned. Lo, I presume you hear this.
Enter Love Unfeigned.
And then, lo, where he doth approach, one virtues with one. This is lo.
You got this.
Lo, where he doth approach, one virtues which doth smell, his nature low in virtuous ways doth passingly excel. O welcome sure, unfeigned love, right welcome, loving brother, whom I, as nature doth me bind, I love above all other.
I thank you, familiarity, for your courtesy always. Right glad I am your health to see condign of worthy praise. But who is this which by you stands declare my loving brother?
Yea, Fellowship, which should you love in heart above all other.
Oh, Fellowship, right glad I am to see you in good health, and wish from heart that you may live in like increase of wealth.
Praise be to Christ, which love hath to me sent. God give me grace not from his counsels to relent. Your aid I crave, me to assist against my deadly foe. You are the same which may me aid and bring me out of woe.
Since, I'll wait till it goes down, there we go. Since my advice ye do desire, if me ye would embrace, my qualities and footstep all ye must pursue apace. Love is my name indeed, whom all me do pursue. The sinful creatures and lovers of virtue, but mark what added is unto my name of love. Unfeigned by which word by reason we may prove that love unfeigned meaneth well, and free from cruel vice. And Holy Writ doth term me grave and wise. Love by itself may be addict, as we may prove by reason, to virtue or to vice according to the season. There is love feigned, contrary to my kind, which will provide thee to assault and change from thee my mind. I knit betwixt God and his church tranquillity and peace, in labours good to spend my time. I love do never cease. As my belovers may by Paul declare, whose words are these, Who can divide thee from the love of Christ, which would him please? Wherefore me love embrace for Paul doth mention make, to people of Corinthia mine autor whom I make, and have, with tongue evangelical my words though I should show, and have no love in me, nor his wishes should.
Something, and we'll
Who
stop
knows?
there. We'll stop there.
Great,
I was
good,
totally
thank you.
wrong.
I
was
appreciate
totally
that.
wrong. Fellowship and familiarity are good people who are there with love, the good love. Love unfeigned is the good love. So we're the good people. The bad people come on later and try and corrupt the concept of love. So,
That's all right.
so there's a false love that comes on later on, falsehood, and they will,
falsehood. I see.
So they will try and destroy fellowship, and that's the sort of logic.
I have a question for you guys. Did you while I was speaking, did you follow any of what I was saying?
Broadly speaking, I think I got the outline. I didn't think it was very good.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I defer to Robert.
Because the thing is, actors can have. I think we may have mentioned it before. Certainly on our podcast, we mentioned it. And I'll mention it again here. When I have actors, or when I myself read something cold, one of the things that I ask actors to look out for is what a fellow actor about 10 years ago termed blacking out, or going through a black hole. Is that you're reading and you keep going, but your brain somehow goes, I'm not following any of what I'm saying. And the curious thing is that it's always fascinating to me when the actor has the black hole feeling, but the audience still follows, so it kind of doesn't matter. Versus when the actor has a blackout feeling and the audience is also going, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. And so when I came to that long speech, one of the reasons why I wanted to do it was because I was like, oh, I wonder, because you can't tell on the page whether it's going to be very vibrant or whether it's going to send you through a black hole or what. And for me, I was like, I'm not sure what I'm saying. Like, I think I know how words, like I'm saying,
I mean, in a sense, you come on and say, I am love, I am the proper love, love is right. Great.
Well, there's certain things that I hooked into, obviously. But by and large, it was a lot of, and yet I didn't know, maybe it was making sense to your, fully you were following it or not.
It doesn't flow well.
No!
I mean, even taking in mind,
awful.
there's a lot of editorial work to be done on this one. It's not properly punctuated. It's not even capitalized in places. There are errors there to be adjusted. But even taking that into mind, it just stumbles along, doesn't it?
Oh, I got to tell you, I was dying. I was like, please, an editor come in and just put any punctuation you want anywhere, just to help me, like, not stumble along. And it's interesting. So I'm in the middle of doing my thesis, part of which is looking at, it's called spoken performance notation is what I'm calling it. So it's things like a full stop makes you stop, right? Crazy things like that. A comma makes you pause, or tells you.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Or it tells you what the phrasing is. It just sort of, the question of, no, it's cool because part of my argument, right, is that the notation could be there, and then you could still decide. There might be 5 ways to perform a comma. Let's put it that way, right?
Yes.
And so trying to look at, okay, what is the
stopping young actors from pausing on commas is something that I spend a lot of my time doing.
It's incredibly fair. So fair. But the thing is that I had forgotten and taken for granted that the way we have developed punctuation, if nothing else, can just help you make sense of the darn thing you're reading. Because it at least tells you this is a phrase that probably these words are probably connected in some way. Well, these words are connected in a different way. And
I can punctuate it really quickly. Actually, the punctuation here is really straightforward, and we've had this so many times because it's that kind of very schematic way of writing. It's line, comma, line, semicolon, line, comma, line, full stop.
Right. But
almost all the way down, and that's kind of it. And then it's
Yeah.
you just need to decide on a few additional midline commas. But that's it all the way down. Actually, I think
okay,
pretty much.
but okay. Well, we're looking.
It's very regular.
Oh, sure. But even so, the punctuation would have helped, right? But even so, just looking at this is something that would have sent Gorgeous George into like apoplexy. This is exactly what he hates, and what the schoolmaster, whose name I always forget, hated before him in the 1520s and 40s, was there. What meter? Who knows? This is exactly why people are like, there is some special trick to having the same strict repeated beat, because it'll do some of your work for you. This thing's all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, just the listeners at home can't see this, but you just look at the speech, and it's just long line, short line, long line. The line lengths, verse doesn't have to look totally perpendicular, but it clearly doesn't look right.
Well, the thing is, again, is it intentional? Is there something that shifting the beat is doing? Like I said before, I love it when we sort of what Glenn Maxwell calls loose pentameters. What I might call a sort of loose or sprung beat. Love that. Love it. It gives you an easy sense. It doesn't sort of keep you rigidly in, but you have to use it when that's what you're going for. And as we've been talking about earlier, you run the risk of wrenching rhymes when you start mucking about with meter in English, when you start mucking about with stresses, which again can be cool if you know what you're doing. But this is painful.
Shall we move on?
Yeah.
We've got one more text I want to do this session.
Great.
Okay. And so I'm working towards this. So it's 1572.
Oh, wow. I mean, we're racing through the decade.
We are racing through, especially considering we've been doing texts that possibly weren't even from the 1570s. This is pretty much... This one's reasonably here. This is definitely from the 1570s. It dates from 1570 to 1581, but it sort of gets put around 1572-ish. This is sort of where it lives. And it is The Conflict of Conscience by Nathaniel Woods. Bit of context, what's going on in 1572? The massacre of St. Bartholomew's Day is happening in Paris. Ooh. So there is a massive slaughter of Protestants in France. Starts here. So if you're, again, a Protestant in England who have just been excommunicated and people are trying to kill the Queen, and then this happens in France. So it's also, in a more theatrically minded way, this is when we have the well-known Rogues and Vagabonds Act occurs. So this is a bit of legislation which basically says if you don't have a proper patron, you can't tour plays or perform plays. Right. 1572. This is the year. And this is a brilliant bit of controlling strategy from Elizabeth. Because before this, we don't know precisely how many small interlude groups there are out there with, 5 or 6 people just pootling about. But we think there's probably quite a lot. Possibly even in 3 figures at some points. There's a lot of dramatic activity going on. Especially as mystery playing sort of dies out as well. Again, so there's potentially more of a market as well for entertainment of that description. And so basically she says, well, no, you're going to have to make sure that you're an official person supported by an official person who happens to be someone I know personally. It's an act of control. And I say it's not this thing that the actors are rogues and vagabonds. If you are not a properly supported actor, then you are treated like you're a Rebecca, and basically you won't get any gigs because you'll turn up at a town and say to the Lord, the local mayor or the local alderman, and say, can I perform here? And they'll say, who's your patron? And I say, and then they'll tell you to sod off. But if you turn up with a patron and you've got your paperwork, and people did forge the paperwork.
No.
I believe there are cases of people turning up and saying, we are the Lord Finiviner's men, and they would do that. And the Queen's still got players of her own. She's got the remaining rump of the King's players that go back to Henry VII. There's about 4 or 5 of them. I don't know how many of them are still alive at this point, but in theory there are still some entertainers directly under her aegis. But she's also doing a lot more watching plays produced by boys' companies, and increasingly now we're getting what we could probably call boys' companies, where choral schools are putting on paid performances or public performances of the plays that they're putting on, and these are being performed at court, and so there's all this activity going on here.
Why are boys' companies so popular?
It's not necessarily that they're popular. One, they know how to read, so they can put on plays quite quickly.
Okay, so basically because they could cold read?
Well, yeah, because they could read. Also, they could copy out their own scripts. If you're producing a Q script, you need to go to a scrivener or something and get it written out for your actors to read.
Right,
Boys,
right.
they can copy their own parts out as an exercise. So they're ideally suited, and it's part of their education. They're reading plays. They're performing plays as part of their education. Why not then put them on for an audience? So it's sort of a logical extension of what they do.
Okay.
So the Richard Mulcaster is doing an annual court play with his boys. That's the Merchant Taylors Company. Boys' school still exists today, I think they have many schools now today. But yeah, and we've had earlier Windsor. There's Children of Windsor Chapel existed in the 1560s. So they're existing thereabout, and also they get published. If the plays get published, they survive. We see them. So this is an attempt to control the acting world. So we're looking at the conflict of conscience, and I had a book somewhere that was going to tell me something exciting about this. And
Don't you know how evil books are from our schoolboy beforehand?
Oh yeah, the terrible thing. So we're going to go from and later on, as it says there in your script. We're going to have a little read a bit of this, but I'll give you a little bit of context for this. This is actually based on a true story.
What?
So it's the story of Francis Spera, and it is basically a story of a question of faith, shall we say, and theology, and where you are, where you live on the particular side of the confession, and I'll leave it at that point for now, and just this is a point towards later on in the play, and so we've got Philologus, who is our central character here, who is, I think, the analogue for the person this is actually based on, encountering the personification of horror.
Amazing. Wow. I mean, if you're gonna do early horror, literature, name someone horror, commit.
Yeah. So this play has a narrative, but it also has a theological position.
Right.
It's based on a true story, but it's allegorical. It's doing all sorts of really interesting things. We haven't done nearly enough work on it, which is why it's lovely to return to it.
Rather
here.
long lines too.
Yes. Well, if you look a little earlier in the text, that it does vary. So
yes.
So we've got lines like, with the I am at one, but of that merchant too, I look for some amends, or else I will away.
And they're also playing with rhyme scheme. It's not all couplets.
Yes, alternating.
Well,
A B.
No. So you have harm, charm, deride, abide, but then do, pray, to, away, play, obeisance, heads. So it's sort of it's just, I don't know, that's sticking to anything, which is kind of fun.
So anyway, we'll do this moment in the action of Philologus says some stuff. Who wants to be the tormented, and who wants to be the tormentee?
Colin, do you have a preference?
I'll go with Philologus or Philologus.
Love of
give that one a try.
Logus. Love of logging. That's what. No.
Love of logic? Is that it?
Love of logic, I
Philologus,
think. Yeah.
Or love of truth?
Or love of the
Logo?
word.
Oh, very, very possible. Yeah, I'll be the tormented.
I'll be horror.
I volunteer.
Alrighty.
And I have the first line.
Yeah,
so
you
here
do.
we go.
You're the first chunk.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I was at a point once, very near to have been quite forlorn, had not suggestion of the flesh from folly me reclaimed, and set this glass of worldly joys my sight and eyes beforn, the sight whereof did cause all things of me to be disdained. I thought I had felicity when it I had obtained, and to say truth I do not care what to my soul betide, so long as this prosperity and wealth by me abide. But let us homeward go again, some pastime there to make. My whole delight in sport and games of pleasure I repose.
Enter horror. I feel like I want to be piratical or something. Nay, stay thy journey here a while. I do thee prisoner take. I shall abate thy pleasure soon. Yea, too soon thou wilt suppose.
And am I correct that horror has just completed the rhyme I said it? Repose?
Yeah,
Yes.
we've been doing ABAB a bit there, yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool. All right. So, anyway, picking up. What is thy name? Whence comest thou? Wherefore to me disclose?
My name is called Confusion and Horror of the Mind, and to correct impenitence of God I am assigned, and for because thou dost despise God's mercy and his grace, and wouldst no admonition take by them that did thee warn, neither when conscience counselled thee thou wouldst his words embrace, who would have had thee unto God obedience true to learn, nor couldst between suggestions craft and conscience truth discern. Behold, therefore, thou shalt of me another lesson hear, which will thou, nil thou, with torment of conscience shalt thou bear, and where thou hast extinguished the Holy Spirit of God, and made him weary with thy sins, which daily thou hast done, he will no longer in thy soul and spirit make abode, but with the graces which he gave to thee now is he gone, so that to Godward by Christ's death rejoicing thou hast none. The peace of conscience fated is, instead whereof I bring the spirit of Satan, blasphemy, confusion, and cursing. The glass likewise of vanities, which is thine only joy, I will transform into the glass of deadly desperation, by looking in the which thou shalt conceive a great annoy. Thus have I caught thee in thy pride and brought thee to damnation, so that thou art a pattern true of God's just indignation, whereby each man may warned be the like sins to eschew, lest the same torments they incur, which in thee they shall view.
Oh, painful pain of deep disdain! Oh, griping grief of hell! Oh, horror huge! Oh, soul suppressed and slain with desperation! Oh, heap of sins, the sum whereof no man can number well! Oh, death! Oh, furious flames of hell! My just recompensation? Recompensation, I guess?
I think it'll probably go recompensation. I imagine it'll probably do that. I don't know. Hang on. Oh, death. Oh, furious flames of hell. My just recompensation.
Well, it's with
recompensation.
Slain with desperation, just recompensation.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Oh, and then it's continued condemnation. All right. Anyway, so... Oh, death! Oh, furious flames of hell! My just recompensation. Oh, wretched wight, oh, creature cursed, oh, child of condemnation, oh, angry God and merciless, most fearful to behold, oh, Christ, thou art no lamb to me, but lion fierce and bold. So
Alas,
many
dear
O's.
father, alas, dear father, what doth move and cause you to lament?
My sins, alas, which in this glass appear innumerable, for which I shall no pardon get, for God is fully bent in fury for to punish me with pains intolerable, neither to call to him for grace or pardon am I able. That's a nice rhyme. My sin is unto death. I feel Christ's death doth me no good. Neither for my behoof did Christ shed his most precious blood.
Alas, dear father, alas, I say, what sudden change is this?
I am condemned into hell these torments to sustain.
Oh, say not so, my father dear, God's mercy mighty is.
The sentence of the righteous judge cannot be called again, who hath already judged me to everlasting pain.
Pain,
Ah,
yes.
man.
Pain.
Yeah.
Called again. To
Gain.
everlasting
Again,
pain.
everlasting pain. Ah, that's what I need. I'm too American. That's what it is.
Do you get the impression that someone's read some Seneca?
Yes, absolutely. Well, also, I mean, this is just a perfect example of how sometimes you do have to do your metrical work in order to figure out how to say the words.
Yep.
Yeah, because this is actually good meter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So a little context
was
of what's going on in
satisfying.
this scene, which I
It
should have
was
given you
satisfying.
more before.
I don't know. I mean, this reminds me very much again of my favorite, The Castle of Perseverance. I'm just like, yes, it's just balls to the walls, and you gotta kind of go for it. It's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It's a fascinating place. So the story is basically you've got a Protestant in a Catholic setting. The Catholic, effectively the Inquisition comes for him. He is forced. Pressure is put on his family. They take all his money away and they force him to recant as a Catholic. And they give him this glass of vanity, and he sort of becomes happy with this, the vanity of popish doctrine. And then this vision turns up and tells him sorry, mate, you're damned now.
You know what though? Okay,
And-
so this is the thing. It goes
Dang.
hardcore allegory,
Yeah.
which can be so satisfying. Sorry, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. No, and yeah, it's and basically it's based on a true story. Someone who is forced to recant, and he turns back to Protestant, and he sort of ends up in despair. He doesn't know what to do, so he kills himself.
Oh no! Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is another version of this text, for example. So I think they decided it was a bit much, so he doesn't.
I have to say, this reminded me. This felt kind of like Dr. Faustus. In terms of like, yeah, well, just the end of Dr. Faustus, basically. I don't know why this was so satisfying when sometimes this exact same sort of story and allegory, it feels, I guess other ones where it feels a bit weak or a bit apologetic or a bit, I don't know, it lacks when it lacks muscularity, it's not as fun.
I mean, this one commits.
Yeah, that's
Right.
it. If you're doing the bit, do the bit.
Right. Yeah. I think that's especially clear in Philologus or Philologus's like his total 180 into penitence. The number of, I mean, I do wish the listeners could see the text to see how many just the letter O, which of course, if you're an actor dealing with this type of language, that's an opportunity to wail. And so, like, just across that whole paragraph, it's, oh, painful pain of deep disdain. Oh, griping grief of hell. Like, it's every line. In fact, literally every line starts with
And
that.
as a thing that's being staged, remember, this is a scene where he's there with his family, and they can't see the horror.
Oh. Oh,
so
man.
they're going, Dad, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? What are you looking? That's a standard lamp. What are you staring at that for? They can't see the horror that has just come for him, and that's also the opportunity. What does the horror look like?
But this is also. I just want to take a quick look at this rhyme scheme here. So I'm just going to sort of scan it real quick. So right before horror enters, it's A B A B. Because we have this interesting thing is it's A B A B B, and then C C. Right, mind assigned, and we're back to sort of an A B A B B C C. A B A B. Oh God, yeah. Oh, it's a rhyme scheme I've never quite seen before. A B A B B.
Interesting.
C C. A B A B B C C. Yeah. This is in verses. In terms of like you could put this in a strophic or stanza formation. And it seems to be. Would you scroll down a little bit lower so I could just see the whole Philologus thing there?
Yes, we've got some rhyme royal in there apparently. So
is that what this is? Okay.
That might indeed be that. I can never remember what rhyme royal actually looks like.
Let me take a quick look because it's going to bother me. Because that would.
Yeah, 14ers, pentameter, and prose throughout the text apparently.
Okay, so hold on. Rhyme royal. Yep. Hey, this is exactly rhyme royal. A B A B B C C. A B A B B C C.
Oh.
That's what's happening here. And that makes absolute sense. But also, it's done really very elegantly. And the language, you've got a lot to say. So it's not doing the thing of just repeating itself or saying, like this one, the text that you gave us has the punctuation that I was missing from the previous one. But I almost didn't need it because the language the grammar is just so clear.
It all fits together in a neat way, and it's doing the job, and
it is.
Yeah, it's Nathaniel Woods, because we actually have a playwright for this one as well. Is knows what he's doing. And he's it is extra. I think we shouldn't not acknowledge that it is a very extra text. But it does what it's doing. And again, in this context of when this is happening, in a country that is feeling besieged on some level, this I think has impact as well in a way that maybe in a different way to what we would take from it today.
Well, I think one of the things that I like about, as we're talking about, is their purpose to essentially the poetical ornament that you're choosing. And by choosing rhyme royal at this point of, again, sort of the end of Dr. Faustus, as it were, right? The moment of damnation, you get sort of, even though I didn't know that it was rhyme royal, because as I mentioned, I can never remember what rhyme royal is. One of these days it'll stick in my brain. Regardless, even without knowing it, I got the sense that something big was happening from the form. It's content dictating form, form dictating form, revealing content. Yeah. And it worked. It functioned.
So this is we've got to about the early 1570s. Ben Jonson's being born. Around about now.
He has not killed anyone yet.
No, he has not murdered a single person yet.
Now I need to know.
Yeah, it's a busy old time.
Okay,
and things are going to get worse in England before they get better, and lots of changes are afoot in the world of theatre, which we will look at next time when we get more than about 3 years further forward.
Well, you know what? You thought there was something fiddly about this time period, and we found some things. Yeah. Oh, that said, though, Colin, in this time, you did not do any of this sort of this Seneca drama for drama's sake. or story for story's sake.
True, there is a
verse.
I did miss
no
class
blank
once.
Verse.
And I also, it's interesting just to contrast, since I've been going now back through the early sessions, of course, preparing our own season at time of recording, of course. But yeah, no, it's interesting to see how, just in terms of the volume, and I know this is one of the leaner decades, you said, Rob. But even so, we've spent quite a while on really only a handful of years, and there's been a lot to dig into.
Yes,
compared to
that's partly because
earlier
I've just given us more text to do per year. But I've stopped putting gaps in, as it were. So and we were running on with interesting stuff. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't all
sure.
right.
That's what we're here for, right?
and there is an element also. I'm slowing down the run rate a little bit, just on the principle that I've got to get more plays in the future gone through before we get to them.
Sure.
So I've got to sort of try and, because once we hit the early 17th century, it gets complicated.
Right.
Also, plays get longer as we go on as well. So trying to find representative thing. Well, in a sense, it gets easier because I don't think they don't play around with verse in quite the same way.
Well, that's exactly it. We start getting standardized with verse, which I'm sort of keeping an eye out for.
Yes.
Because
but no blank verse today.
No blank verse today, but we did get Rhyme Royal. Yep. And it is a curious thing to me that we don't make Rhyme Royal our standard, that instead we go with iambic pentameter in blank verse as our standard. Why not Rhyme Royal? Even if it were blank verse. Well, no, I guess you can't do blank verse Rhyme Royal because that's just a blank verse 14er.
I suspect it's just, Rhyme Royal is old, therefore it is done. It has this connection with ancient English poesy, which is what they're trying to do away with, and
we're trying to be edgy.
World.
Yeah,
they're trying to create a new world, but this very much speaks to that time of reacting to those Senecan translations, and it's not reacting to Seneca; it's reacting to Senecan translation.
Right.
That whole "O painful death of deep disdain, O griping grief of hell." I mean, that is straight out of the translations of Thyestes and that we did in the early 1560s and late 1550s. So yeah, it's definitely reacting to those things. And or things that we don't have as well. But I do need to close this session now, I'm afraid. So we will, however, return. There are more plays in the 1570s. So all that remains to thank my wonderful guests for being wonderful. Where can we find you online?
Yes, you can find us on any of your favorite podcatchers at Hamlet to Hamilton, all spelled out. Actually, excitingly, since we're doing this crossover season, I have signed us up for pretty much every social media that exists. So we are on Threads, we're on Blue Sky, as well as, Twitter. We have a Discord for our patrons on Patreon, which is also patreon.com/Hamlet to Hamilton. And of course, you can find all of this on our website at hamlettohamilton.com, which by the time you hear this might even be up to date.
Stay tuned.
Yep. We're on Instagram as well. Yep. All the major social medias, Hamlet to Hamilton. Only on the quickly fading Twitter is Hamlet to Hamilton with the number 2 rather than 2 spelled out. Everywhere else, there is enough room to spell out the entire thing.
Yes, and if you want to interact with me directly, I am at Multiwonk on most things. I am most active on Twitter. I made a professional page, but I don't know how to manage those. So just, if you want to find me, just DM me on Twitter.
And I am Emily,
or the artist formerly known as Twitter,
there you
I should say.
And I am Emily C.A. Snyder on everything. Hooray for middle initials.
Yes.
You did putting this out there to anyone who's ever worried about being original. Get as many middle initials as you can, and there you are.
Well, fun fact, I have 2 middle initials as well. I just haven't used them in any usernames.
Because of your confirmation name?
No, literally, I just have 2 middle names.
Oh. So you
have as many as you like.
Exactly.
Depending on which country you're born in.
Well, also
there are naming conventions. Some countries will not give you a name if they don't like it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think there was a child who was literally named Boy for a while because the name the parent wanted to give them, the state said no, you can't have that name. It's silly. So they just said, okay, Child, that is your name, and that was basically what they called them. Anyway, I really must close this session.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Thank you to my wonderful guests. Thank you very much, everyone, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.